It is Hayley Bohan. I am the founder of Marketing on Purpose and the creator of the new Marketing and Mindset Mastermind. And beside me, I have the amazing Terri-Ann Richards.
Hey.
And Terri-Ann is part of the mindset portion of this mastermind. She was actually the very first person that I asked to be part of it because she's been super instrumental in my own mindset and getting myself out of my own way to grow my business the way I want to. So welcome, Terri-Ann.
Hey, Hayley. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super pumped, super excited.
Excellent, excellent. So I actually have I was trying to be all professional. And so I got Terri-Ann to give me like an intro. And I was like tweaking it and we were messing around with it. So I'm going to read it to you. It's a little bit not my style to read this, and I know it's not Terri-Ann's style, but I think it's really important that we make sure that you guys know that she is super credible and that I have chosen very wisely in having Terri-Ann be part of this mastermind program. So Terri-Ann is a serial entrepreneur turned coach with over 8 companies under her belt. She's a no bullshit, she's the no blah, 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 blah. There, you can't see me anymore. Now you know I'm actually reading. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh my God. I love it.
I'm actually
right now, and we are totally just having fun. So this is good. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay. No, I'm kidding. I knew that was happening. Okay. So Terri-Ann is a serial entrepreneur and coach with over 8 companies under her belt. She is the no bullshit kind, forward-thinking secret ingredient that I think every single business owner needs in their life. She helps you become the best leader you can be. She helps you improve your outcomes. And if you're leading a team, she's going to help you keep your retention, which is huge, right? So she is a sought-after and inspiring speaker. Her life story is beyond, and I'm sure that for the people in the mastermind, she will share it. And a lot of you have probably already heard it. But she has really had to create a mindset of growth. She's one of the most educated people. I've never met somebody who wants to learn so much and has on her craft. So let's see. Back to my sheet. She's empowering others to radically shift their mindset, move beyond limiting beliefs, and identify barriers that are holding them back from true success. She's the owner of the Balance Equation Coaching and Consulting. She is the founder of the B. There are hundreds of women annually in our local market for personal development. And she has a book. She's the author of Why I Divorced My Husband. So if you really want to get to know her, you should check that book out. Okay. So super happy to have you here. And we're going to dig right in because I want people to kind of get a really good idea of what they're going to get from the mindset perspective from this mastermind.
Awesome.
For those of you who haven't seen me bombarding you with information, if you're not on my email list, the Marketing and Mindset Mastermind is 6 months where we alternate between marketing and mindset, and we are creating an agile marketing plan for you and giving you the tools, resources, skills, training, support, everything you need to actually execute it and meet the objectives that you set forth on this. So, and we're going to make sure those objectives are realistic. But Terri-Ann's portion is to help you get out of your own damn way. So, limiting beliefs. So, Terri-Ann, why don't you tell us all kind of what is a limiting belief, first of all?
So, I mean, I guess the easiest way to say it is a limiting belief is a belief that you have, a story that you tell yourself that is limiting you in one way or another to your ultimate success. Typically, they're created based on everything that's happened previous to today. So there are moments that happened in your childhood, when you were in high school, with that previous relationship you were in, and probably previous careers and businesses that you've been in, where something probably didn't go exactly how you thought it should. And so you started to create a story inside your head from the lens that you have. Because at the end of the day, when you look at the world, you're looking through your own perspective, your own lens, right? Limiting beliefs basically are put there to, in some ways, protect you, which sounds kind of stupid and silly. But they're there because it's to stop you and to get you to question the next step, what you're going to do. The moment where a limiting belief becomes harmful to your success is the moment where you allow it, which is not a fact, it's a fiction, where you allow it, the story that you're telling yourself, to dictate how you behave and act on a go-forward basis. So it could be, you know, like my limiting belief growing up, and still sometimes today, is I'm not worth it, right? That they wouldn't take a risk on me, or they wouldn't put that effort into me because I'm not worth it, right? Some people, it's, you know, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't have enough money, I don't have the creds that those folks over there have. So a limiting belief, the reason why I have so much passion around it is because it literally is the determining factor of whether or not you go forward or you stay still.
Right. And this mastermind's all about moving forward and pushing past those barriers. And I will say, so for those of you who don't know, I have worked with Terri-Ann myself, and came, like, I didn't really think I had any limiting beliefs. I think I'm perfect, right?
We all are.
But I really did. And one of the ones that I had that I'm still working on, but I've moved past it a bit, is that I can't have everything. So I have this belief that if my business is successful, then I can't have good health, or I can't have a good marriage, or my friendships are going to suffer, or something like that. I always feel like there's got to be something that isn't good. And that's my limiting belief. So when my business started taking off, I don't know if anybody's heard my journey, but I gained 50 pounds. Like, I self-sabotaged my health because I was doing well in my business. Right? So this is one of the things that Terri-Ann and I have worked on, but everybody has their own thing. And it really does, like, it was such a powerful realization for me that I was doing that, because I had no idea.
Well, and I think the thing that's important is, you know, it's the I am story, right? And it happens in here. It happens between your two ears, and you're typically not saying it very often out loud, but it's the I am. It's I am not worthy. I am not worth it. I am something. It's a story you're telling yourself, and it's the excuse you give yourself to why you can't do the thing that you know deep in your gut that you're supposed to be doing. So you knew that you were supposed to be doing great things in your business, but in some way you were self-sabotaging that for your health. And then the return was you would self-sabotage your health for the business. You didn't recognize that you could have both.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm working through that, but it's powerful to realize that. Right. Yeah. So a lot of people would be the opposite, and they would be doing something to sabotage their business. Right. So what would you say is the most common? So I know you've you've coached with a lot of executives, you've coached with a lot of business owners. What would you say is kind of one of the number one limiting beliefs that comes up?
You know what? I think the most common one is it's got to be hard, right? Like, so I got to work long hours, you know, like I'm not going to be successful unless I work, 10, 12 hours a day, at the sacrifice of my family or my health. Yeah. A lot of entrepreneurs, especially people in that like 1 to 5 year mark, are really in this space where they think it needs to be complicated. And I'm not saying that business doesn't have its complications and you don't need a little bit of grit to get through it, but there's this mindset, this limiting belief that says, it's got to be hard. And the reality is it's about working smarter, not harder. And, a lot of times when I'm working with people who have this specific limiting belief, it's just about getting them to go inward and unpack that a bit and figure out like, where the heck did that come from? Right? Like someone on the line told you that business is hard, it's complicated, and you got to work 70 hours a week to actually have the success. But then ultimately, if you think of your life wheel, right, all those sections of your life, something else is going to pay the price if you work 70 hours a week, right? So that limiting belief will affect the rest of your life, which will affect ultimately your success in life. Yeah. So that's the most common. And then the other one is I have to do it all by myself, right? A lot of suck at delegation because they think that they're the only ones with the skill, they're the only ones with the passion. If I don't, if I do it myself, at least I know it will be done right. But the reality is then you can't scale. You get to the next level in your business, which is, the ultimate dream. Most of us don't go into business so that we work 70 hours a week. We go into business so that we can have flexibility and we can travel and we can do these great things with our family. And then somehow we put ourselves in this pigeonhole where we're going to work 70 hours a week and I got to do it all by myself. Yeah. That's a limiting belief that halts you from having true life satisfaction.
Yeah. And I think that too, that limiting belief of having to do it by yourself, like that seriously impedes your ability to get past the plateau in your business. So if like I've had lots of clients who are either on like, they have this mission to like make a huge impact. They want to grow, but they're not willing to invest in themselves.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a limiting belief that, I'm not worth it or I can't make it happen or what that is. Or like you said, it's because they think I'm the only one who can do this. Mm-hmm. But you hit a point in your business where you can't be. And I'm sort of at that point too, right? Like this launch is a great example of that. So I was doing it all by myself. And then I'm like, I just don't have the capacity to do this the way I want to do it. So I actually had to outsource some help. Amy Allen. Yay!
And that's so crazy because like where most of us kind of get stuck in complacency is where we reach our lid, right? Like everybody has a lid. Everybody has a place in which, their personal development, their life experience has brought them to this specific moment and they have a lid and they're pretty awesome with their lid, but grow their business to the space of their lid. How do you get to the next level? Well, you need to bust through your lid. And the only way you do that is by surrounding yourself by other awesome people who can push and prod and poke at you and challenge you a bit to say, you know what, maybe what you're doing isn't exactly what you should be doing because you're not playing in your sandbox. Like that would be like me doing bookkeeping. I'm not playing in my sandbox, but I could do it. And it would probably take me like 10 hours a week to do, or I could outsource it and I could play in my sandbox and do exactly what I'm good at. Right. And so I think that's probably to me, the beauty of a mastermind. I've been privy to being part of two and in my entrepreneurial career for 15 years. And both of them have radically shifted who I am as a person. So it affected me personally in 10 times. But professionally, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as somebody who thinks way bigger than I ever did before, that is ultimately because of being I was part of the Wallace McCain Institute and I was part of 21 Inc. Both of them were mastermind groups, cohorts. And man, when you get in a group like that, you bust through your own personal glass lid.
Yeah. Because you're surrounded by the people who are kind of going through the same thing.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you're
and the ideas, right? Like I always talk about, in marketing, like when I was in big companies, I would brainstorm all the time. I never did anything by myself.
No.
Like I would sit down and do the strategy and stuff, but I would brainstorm with people and the best ideas come out when you have conversations.
100%. Right? Well, I think at the end of the day, it's like, if I'm the person looking in the mirror every day and asking myself what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing, and, is this the right idea or is this the wrong idea? I'm going to give myself the answer that I expect and because I want it. Surround myself. Great example is, there was 3 of us who went away a couple weeks ago and we did our own little retreat, right? Little business retreat. And it's by virtue of being around other people who also want to have a growth mindset, right? Because there's a fixed mindset and there's a growth mindset. And people who get into this program with you are going to have a growth mindset. Those are people who get that in order to get to the places that they need to go, they need to grow, right? They need to push themselves past the limits of their own lid. And the only way to do that is with other people.
100% agree. And that's why I'm so excited about this particular program, which was born of like, I can't believe I can say this. I've been in business 2 years now. Woohoo! Woohoo! And, I've worked with over 60 small business owners. And, so it's the mindset that makes a difference. So you can have, the best marketing strategy in the world, and we'll get you there. But if you don't have the mindset that you deserve this,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That, you can do it, that it's worth the effort.
You don't get there.
Or the mindset that you can, like, it's okay to ask for help.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's interesting when you bring up mindset, because mindset is like one of the top 3 determining factors whether or not you'll have ultimate success in your life, right? Like if you don't have a growth mindset, if you don't get that you need to be positive and that you need to be able to roll through life's challenges, especially in business, because there's lots of them. You need to be able to deal with different types of personalities. You need to kind of have that grit and bear down personality that says, you know what, I will do it until it's done. Right. And to have that type of a mindset, literally, you could Google it. You can look in Harvard. The studies are there that those who have a growth mindset win every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I've got a couple questions I want to ask you. Pull out my trusty sheets because I want everybody to get a really good idea of who you are and what it's like to work with you. So I'm hoping that a lot of people watching are people who've been following me for a while. I'm not doing really any advertising for this mastermind because it's about us. It's about having a relationship, but I want them to understand who you are. Hopefully they already understand who I am. So let's see. What's the most common challenge? You might have already answered this. What's the most common challenge you find that most leaders or business owners have?
You know what? It's interesting. I've said it a few times and you've probably heard me say it, but almost all problems that people have in general are relationship problems, which really just comes down to communication. And so it's interesting because I find myself in a lot of the conversations that I have with leaders, it's around their ability to show up, earn the right, and follow through. And that could be having difficult conversations with people. That could be like, the icky stuff like letting people go. It could be their ability to communicate with their family that something that they're doing in their business is super important. Their ability to show up and pitch their business. Like the way in which you show up, earn the right, and ultimately follow through with what you say you'll do. I find for some odd reason, that's what most leaders, most entrepreneurs, small business owners seem to be challenged with. And I think that it's probably like the sweet spot is when you start to grow past your own limits, like you're busier. And that's the first thing that starts kind of taking a dip, taking a nosedive. So communication is key. And it literally is, one of those things that you need to do in all aspects of your life. You kind of can't get away from it. Communication through text, through email, through Facebook Messenger. It's the way in which
marketing, communication, right?
Yeah. That would be what I see as the biggest challenge.
Listening and telling. Listening to you guys. That's the research part. Listening. A lot of people, I mean, I love the communication thing because from a marketing perspective, a lot of people think that it's only communicating outwardly, right?
No, marketing even have taught me that. Like it's the messaging that I'm bringing. It's the way in which I show up to my people, whether it's through social media or through things like this. And it's the way in which I listen with my ears.
Yes, it's the listening. It's that I cannot stress it enough. If you don't take anything else from me from this discussion, I'm sure you're going to take a ton from Terri-Ann. But if you take nothing else from me, you've got to listen to your customers.
Yes.
And what they want. And
he was given 2 ears.
Believe their actions more than their words.
2 ears and 1 mouth. So, twice as much listening.
Yeah. Look and listen, right? Because it's, it's one of those things like actions speak louder than words. So if you've got a page full of people and they're all like, yay, but nobody buys from you, you got a problem, right? And so we'll tackle all that stuff in the mastermind. And the thing about the mastermind is there is a little bit of a curriculum, especially at the beginning, from the mindset point of view, as well as the marketing point of view. But as we get going, it's going to be tailored to the needs of the people in the group, which I think is pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So, I love this one. Do you actually believe that you can control your thoughts?
Yes and no. So here's the deal. You have like 80,000 thoughts, they say, that go through your mind a day. 80% of those thoughts are negative on average, which blows my freaking mind. It's like 80,000 thoughts a day and 80% of those are negative. The truth is the thoughts are going to come. It's kind of like meditation. The thoughts are going to come no matter what. The moment, though, that you recognize, and again, it comes back to mindset and it goes back to the limiting beliefs. The second you realize what of those thoughts are the false stories you're telling yourself, the negative stories you're telling yourself, the I am stories, the moment you become aware of them, which is a lot of the work that we'll be doing in this mastermind, is getting to the bottom of like, what are the thoughts? What are those limiting beliefs? And what are the negative Nellies that are in your thoughts? But the moment you get to that place is the moment you then can get control over them. So you can, there's specific hacks, specific tricks that we use to get you to have control over them so that they no longer dictate your actions and your behavior. Because at the end of the day, your thoughts dictate your feelings, which dictates your physiological. So you think of a thought you have, you get, a sadness, and all of a sudden you get an ick in your belly. But ultimately, those three dictate the actions that you're going to take, right? Or not take, which is the unfortunate truth. And so the moment you can get control, and again, going back to 80,000 thoughts for the average human a day, and 80% of those being negative, man, if you could get like,
that's unbelievable.
You got to get 10% or 20% of those and get a hold on those and slow those down or stop them altogether. Imagine what that would do for your life. Because again, a lot of the stories you're telling yourself are false. They're not real. They're not true. It's your brain's way of trying to ensure that you don't get hurt, which is great. Nice of our brain to do that. But it's also stopping us from having success in relationships. It's stopping us from having success in our businesses. And again, ultimate life, right? Because you have one life, personal life and business life is just one life. And that crap you're telling yourself is stopping you from having an awesome life.
Yeah. One of the most, I'm going off script now. I've been off script the whole time, but you're used to it. I'm scared that, some of the other people I'm interviewing are going to be like, what the hell? So one of the things that Terri-Ann did with me when she was coaching me was, and I'm hoping that you're going to be able to do this with the mastermind group, was to look at all of the aspects of your life and to kind of like figure out where you were with those aspects. And I know you kind of do it in the balance retreat as well.
Yeah.
But actually talking those through and why you're rating them and how to change that, like that was actually really powerful for me, because I was like so focused on just my business that I was letting everything else go. And like, I burned out like last spring. When I hired you, I was completely burnt. I was done.
Yep.
Right. Like I was showing up for my clients, but from a creativity perspective, I was completely tapped because I had just put too much. I burned myself out, and we don't want that. So hopefully this program will help you not do that.
Well, and so yes, 100%. So like, for people to know sort of where they've achieved success, they need to know where they were, right? And so that's why we go through that process of, because again, you single-handedly focus on one area of your life. Like that, we kind of compartmentalize a little bit, right? Especially as leaders and entrepreneurs, because we're so excited about growing our business. Yeah. It's why I wrote that book, Why I Divorced My Husband, because it's to teach everybody what happens when you focus purely on your business. You get it. So I ended up with a divorce, and there's a variety of reasons of why that happened. But in reality, it was because I focused purely on business and I forgot to focus on all the other stuff. And so I like to take a snapshot with people of where they are at that moment of time. So this is something we would do, right up in the beginning, but then we do it again at the end, because I guarantee those things that they have a low score on are going to change based on all the skill sets they learn in this mastermind program.
Yeah. And also the homework. So if you don't like homework, you guys, if you don't want to do the work, don't sign up.
100%.
Because everybody in this program is going to be successful.
Yep.
Come hell or high water.
That's
but
right.
You got to do the work. We can show you the way.
Yep.
But if you don't do the work. So every time you leave a session, marketing or mindset, you're going to be given individual things to work on. over the next couple weeks. So we're going to go in 2-week sprints. And, you know, you do them. You do the work on your mind. That's, I find, is more the more fun to work on my mind.
But it's also where hard work is, but it's where you see the quickest success, right? Like, you know, the long haul is the marketing and the work that you need to put into your business. But the short sprint is the work you do on up here. You get stuff going right up here, man, everything else just becomes that much easier if you get this right. But you got to figure out what's not working, or, you know, I don't want to use the words what's wrong, but there's something you're doing right now that you've been doing for a really long time that hasn't worked to date.
Yeah.
And you need to figure out what that is. And you need to figure out how to not do it anymore and to choose a rewiring pattern, a new process, so that you can have the success that you ultimately deserve.
I love that. I love that. This is why she's in. So I know I haven't given too much detail about the actual, like, how this program is going to work. But there's 2 full-day sessions within the 6 months where we meet in person in New Brunswick, probably in St. John area. And Terri-Ann is going to be at both of those for some in-person work as well. So the rest of it is 90-minute Zoom meetings where we have everybody. We do it mastermind style, but there's 2 full days, and that's where we're really going to be pushing the limits for your marketing as well as your mindset with Terri-Ann. So it's super exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's ask you. Oh, it's almost 6 o'clock, so we'll ask one more question. Okay. So when I put this out to people, I always say I want you to leave with, like, a really good value. I want, even if you're not going to join the mastermind, even if you just, like, want to, you know, learn a little bit about limiting beliefs, I want you to get something great out of this live. You spent the time here. So what is one tip that you can give for people to do right now that will help them with their mindset, or with their limiting beliefs, or just something that they can do today?
Something that I can do today. So I would challenge you, you know, when you get off of this live to, I don't know, how would I say that? Look at yourself in the mirror and start off with I am, and say the first thing that comes to your mind. The problem is, most of the time what comes to your mind is something negative. And I want you to say it, and I want you to look yourself in the eyes when you say it. And there's something very specific, very special that happens when you look yourself in the eye and you speak what you think is your truth. Your mind will change it back. And so when I say I am beautiful to myself, I feel it deep down in my soul. When I say I'm not worth it, there's something that happens in me that goes, that's wrong. That's wrong. So you need to know what your I am story is. And there's something that you keep saying to yourself. And so what I want you to do is look yourself, literally go to the mirror, look yourself in the eye in your pupils and say, I am. And whatever first comes to your mind, negative or positive, say it. And then I want you to go right down to your gut and go, how did that feel? Because I bet you money that what you're saying that isn't good doesn't feel good. And you need to change the verbiage now, because that's the thing you're saying every day.
Oh, right? Great tip. I'm going to try it. That's awesome. Yeah. So I'm going to just check. I haven't, oh, sorry. I'm just going to check and make sure that we're seeing if there's any comments, because there's no comments showing up on Be Live.
Okay.
So I'm just going to take a quick look on my Facebook. If anybody has any questions for Terri-Ann, or for me, or about the mastermind, throw them in the comments and we will answer them. So I'm going to take a quick look. I better turn my volume down because okay. I see we have a few people watching, but I don't see any questions. So if you have any questions, throw them in the comments, and we will tackle those later. But I'm going to let Terri-Ann get on with her evening, and I know that you're having some dinner with your family. Is that what you're having tonight? Yeah,
I am. Yes.
Nice. And I'm doing a basketball run, taking my daughter to basketball again.
Well, the job of a mom is never really done.
No, so true, so true.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. And you know, if I should leave people with just the one thing is, this is an investment. It's not a cost. And so if you reframe it in your mind, again, mindset, that this is an investment, not a cost, it'll certainly change the way you look at things. You could do research on, you know, the growth of people, individuals who are part of masterminds, what the success rate is. And you will see that ultimately those who go on a mastermind never say they regret it. So this is not my mastermind. This is Hayley. This is me literally telling you that as a woman who's been in business for 15 years, who's been privileged enough to be a part of 2 mastermind groups, they have literally catapulted my life and they have changed my career trajectory. So it's an investment, and it's investment of time and money, but it is so freaking worth it.
Yeah. So you have to be ready to make that investment of time as well. So it's not just about the money. The money you'll make back. Like, I'm not really, like, I know it seems like a lot to some people, but it's not really a lot. If you're looking for tremendous growth in your business, and this is going to get you on that path,
then it's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. But you have to be able to have the time. You have to be able to do it.
Yep.
And so there is an application process. You need to apply to this program. Like I said, I want people to be successful. I want to make sure you're in the right space for it. I have other opportunities for people in different spaces and different times in their business, but this one is specifically for people to get over plateaus and for people who are looking for big growth in 2020 and willing to put in the work. So,
yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great night.
Awesome. Thank you so much, lady.